Hi everyone. This video is all about my Santa Claus treat boxes or gift boxes. We'll take a quick look at the Design Space project and then we'll assemble one. I share my projects in my Facebook group, Carol's Cricut Crafts. I will put a link to my group in the description right under this video, and I hope to see you there. So here is the Design Space project. I'm just going to change my canvas color so you can see better what I'm showing you. There we go. This is the original Santa Claus face. It's by Kira Sorter. And Kira, I hope I pronounced your family name properly. I apologize if I didn't. So this is the original Santa face. I wanted to do mine, let's ungroup this. I wanted to do it partially print and cut with a red background that matches the boxes. But I found that when you're flattening white on white, let's do that, the detail disappears. So that's not something you want to do. Let's take that away. So what I've done is separated all the layers and I gave each layer a tiny black offset so that when I flattened it, you kept the detail. And then I just used an offset to get the red background. And that's what I'm using for my Santa face. But of course, if you want to layer all the Santas, you can. But I will be making at least a dozen, so I decided to do the face as print and cut. I will show it to you in the next part of this video. So let's just group this back. This is the lid. It's pretty basic. It's just a square lid. Bottom cuts that you see here will fold in to reinforce the lid. And this top is how we'll close the top of the lid. So we'll just put that aside. Okay, that's the belt and buckle. That speaks for itself. And for the base of the box, if you have the original project that I shared a few days ago, you have this square. It's 1.9 inch. You have it separate and you have the base of this box all cut out with the square to add on after you construct the box. After making my first one, I decided to incorporate that square into the fold of the base. I thought it would be easier. You don't have to add an extra square. So that's all there is to the project. You'll see more as we assemble it. So let's go ahead and do that. Here we are all ready to assemble one of these Santa boxes. So what I was doing this morning was I needed to print and cut at least one to show you in the video, but I was able to fit 12 on a sheet, and I know I need at least a dozen boxes. So I print and cut all 12 at one time rather than waste a sheet of cardstock. And then I decided to ink the cheeks, Santa Claus's cheeks, so they'd be rosy. So I'm going to do that. We'll just put some adhesive on this one and let it dry a bit. There we go. I'm using Tombow. And we'll just put it on the red background. Simple enough to do. There we go. All set. That's put together. So I'm using this pink ink. I think I got it at Michael's, but I have a bin full of ink that I rarely use, and I don't remember where I got each one. I'm using these little eyeshadow applicators just so that I can get a small application of the ink on Santa's cheeks. I have the little sponges that fit over your fingers. I have those also, but I don't want to be putting too much ink on the Santa face. So I'm using these and just dabbing on a little bit to give him rosy cheeks. I think you can see that. I've done it on all 12. So we'll just set those aside, and I'll do this one, and while it dries, I'll assemble the box. Mind you, I'm putting so little ink that I don't think we have to worry about it drying. Another one. There we go. I don't do a lot of inking, so I may not be terrific at it, but it looks kind of cute. And I think the children who receive these will find them adorable. So I'm just going to throw that brush away. That's what I like about these. I pick them up at the dollar store, and there's 20 in a pack for $1. So when I finish a color, I just throw them away. I'll set that aside. And we have our Santa box. So while this dries, the first thing we're going to do is assemble the lid. So this side will be the top of the lid. After you assemble all this, you use this square as your final fold to close it up. I'll show you that. We'll just fold all our score lines. As I took them off the mat, I folded them just lightly. In the opposite direction of what I'm going to use them. So now we'll fold them all the way. And I like to burnish the fold so it's nice and crisp when I assemble the lid and the box. There we go. We have this small tab here. And we have these. And we'll just burnish those too. To make nice crisp corners on the box. So this is your top. This is your inside. The first thing we're going to do is attach the box together. I'll do that open to add the adhesive so you can see what I'm doing on the pink background. White on white and black on black are very difficult to show. So we'll just add the adhesive and I'll lay it flat and fold it over. And that should line up perfectly. Did I just move it? There we go. Burnish that well. Make sure it's well adhered. Okay, so for the base of the box, you have these 4 squares. We're going to add adhesive and fold them in. And that is just going to reinforce the lid. You don't need to add a lot of adhesive, it's just to keep them in place. One at a time. You just want a bit of adhesive so it doesn't pull apart when you take the lid off and on. Go. And the last one. So these also help to keep the lid, the shape of the lid, so it's not folding sideways as you're trying to close it. Okay, so this, as I mentioned, is your last piece. So these are going to fold down, and this one last to cover the construction of the box. You don't have to adhere all these pieces, but I do recommend that you do. You don't need a lot of adhesive on these extra pieces. fold that one down. And on my last square, I'm going to put adhesive on 3 sides and in the middle. And we'll fold that down. And we have a nice square lid. Now I'll turn it right upside down and just make sure that all the pieces are adhered. That should do it. And we'll let it dry while we assemble the base. And your Santa face is going to go on. I like to use the fold of that square as the front. So that's where your Santa face is going to go on. But we're not going to glue it on yet because we're going to use the Santa face to gauge where to put the belt and the buckle. So we'll just put the lid aside for now and let it dry. So we have our base of our box. These are tabs that are going to fold in just to reinforce the top. Sorry, I went off camera. These tabs will fold in and be glued just to reinforce the top of the box. And the same as we did on here, I've added the square to the base. So when you assemble the box, that will just fold over to make a nice neat base. So I need to burnish the score lines. I've only folded them lightly as I took it off the mat. So we'll burnish the score lines. There we go. And we need to do this side. Perfect. And by the way, in the project, I've doubled up all the score lines. So if you're using a thicker cardstock like I am, I always use Cricut cardstock. And it's quite strong. I love it. It's really super nice quality. But to get a really good score, easy to work with, I always, pretty much always, double up my score lines. It's that one. And now this one. Okay. There we go. So this is the outside of the box. Where's my little tab is there. Okay, I mentioned if you saw my snowman project, I mentioned that you don't want to be putting the front of your box. You don't want to be putting it on the edge. You want this seam to be in the back of the box. So to decorate the front of it, you want to be using either of these 2 center sections. Will work best. And I like to use this square fold as the front, so I'm going to use this one as my front. I'm going to place my Santa where it will be when the lid is on. That's where, just about where it will fall, and that helps me to gauge where I'm going to put the belt and the buckle. So when you're lining up the belt, you want to line it up off the edge. So on this left side, you'll have a gap here, and you'll have excess off the edge, so that when the box is assembled, you'll just finish wrapping the belt around. Okay, so it's going to go just about there. That looks right. So I'm just going to add a little adhesive, not too much. And we'll start by sticking that down. We'll do this one, but only to this edge. Don't go over the flap. That is going to be on the inside. It's part of the construction, so you don't want to add the belt onto that part, onto the edge. See, I've left it open. There we go. And we're going to do this side. Same way that we did the snowman. We can move Santa's face away. And only on this panel. There we go. We're not going to adhere this last piece down on the last panel. There, that's as much of the belt as we want to adhere now. Going to take the little buckle. You can wait and do the buckle at the end, or you can do it now. I just don't want to put too much adhesive on it. I don't want it to get everywhere. Hopefully that's not too much. I think I missed there. Back, maybe too much. And you want to center it up. There we go, that's cute. And this is where the lid is going to go on and the Santa face. So now that we've gotten that far, we're going to turn it over. Let's do this first. We're going to put some adhesive on here. We're going to flip it over and fold this down so that we assemble the box. Make sure that's well adhered. And now we can continue adding the belt on. And if you find the belt a little too long, you can trim it, or you can just fold it over. And honestly, on this one, I cut the belt too small, so I just added a sticker on the background rather than waste it. So we'll just do that. Add a little more adhesive. And I'll just put a dot here. To hold this overlap down. And that should do it. Okay, if you need to, just burnish again where the belt wraps around. And easy peasy, now the belt is all wrapped all the way around. And we're going to glue these down so that they're reinforcing the top of the box. Okay, take those out. You want to make sure you're not using this side because then your belt will be upside down. So you want to make sure that you're reinforcing the right side. So it's where you have all these angled cuts is the top. So just add a little adhesive. This will make the box stronger and help to keep the shape. This side. You don't have to trim the whole edge with adhesive, you're just using it to give it strength. So just a bit of adhesive to keep it inside is all you really need. There we go. There, now it's nice and strong. And on the bottom, you're going to fold in all these shaped pieces and then the last fold on top to keep it all in place. Okay. So we'll add a little adhesive here. Unfold this one in. You want to keep it in shape. A little more adhesive. And keep it in shape. And then on this last one, I'm going to put it on 3 sides and in the middle. I don't put adhesive here because you see the opening in the base. So just the 3 sides and the middle. And that will keep your box in shape. Okay. I don't know if this is long enough to, oh yeah, I can do that. Just to burnish on the inside to make sure that the base is all adhered. That looks good. There's the front of my box, and this is the front of my lid. So the front of my box is folded over. The front of my lid is where the fold is. So we're just going to put that on. And we'll take our Santa face, and you want it to overlap onto the belly of the box. You don't want it to be too high. You want it to overlap. So we're just going to put it down slightly from the edge of the box. And center it up. You can use the buckle to gauge the center. Very simple. So as you're adding adhesive, you want to make sure you don't go below this. You don't want this to stick onto the box. So you want to keep your adhesive higher up. There we go. Just add it on. Make sure it's straight. I think Santa looks so cute with the rosy cheeks. And there we go. All done. Aren't they adorable? I think these are so sweet. And my granddaughter's birthday is at the end of November, and she asked for a Christmas theme birthday party. So we're going to decorate the tree while we're there, and we're going to play Christmas games. And I thought for party favors would be fun to have these little Santas to give out. So I'm going to fill them all up. I'm just waiting to hear how many I need, but I think it's at least a dozen. So I hope you've enjoyed this project. I really hope you're going to make these little treat boxes. Please post pictures in my Facebook group if you do. I would love to see how they turn out. Please take a moment to like this video, and if you don't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.